How are you doing? Hope you are well and healthy. Happy new month. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for subscribing and telling friends. Today on our menu we have what we call tripes, or other people call them offals. It's what we are going to be making today. I hope you enjoy making it and adding it to your menu at home. Now, these are my tripes, or what we call offals, or in Uganda what we call Ebyenda. I bought them. These are about 2 kilos of tripes. I cut them up, but before that you do the washing. These guys are not so clean and they don't smell too good when you first get them from the butcher. So make sure they are thoroughly washed and cut up, because they are the cow's intestines. For those of you who don't know what these are, they don't look like this when raw. Mine are already cooked. These guys take long to get ready, so you give them about an hour of just slow heat and cooking until they are tender. As I show you mine, this is how soft they are. And it may look like it's hard, but it's not. Actually, it's very soft. Ideally, they take longer to even do this. So when you're cooking, you first of all get them and clean them thoroughly so that there is no trace of bad odor and any discoloring that you may not want in your food. I cleaned mine thoroughly, letting water run through these guys, like this type. Water had to run through the whole tripe, and then after that I added vinegar and rubbed them together to ensure they are clean and the odor is removed. I also had to take time to remove the fats. That's why you see mine do not have fats on them. If I made them any other way, we've always done them like this in my house. If I made them any other way, people in my house would not eat them. And for those of you who have been gagged about them, it's because the fats were left on there and you're forced to eat them in a hurry, because if you take longer eating them, the fats would clog and it would be too much. Now, you cut off all the fats and boil them. You could take an hour depending on what heat you're using. If your heat is small, you cook them for about an hour, fully covered, so they tenderize. And then this is the stock that came out of my tripes, or what we call offals. This is the stock that came out. As you can see, it's not fatty. I'll show you this so you know it's different from what normally people make. If you make it this way, everyone will love it. And when I was boiling it, I put some garlic, which is here. I had to put the whole thing and boil it in there. I didn't want any aroma of the offal, of the tripes, or Ebyenda, or offals like many call them, to be in my tripes, or Ebyenda, or offals. So I dropped in a garlic, a whole thing, and then boiled. Once I got them soft, I drained them out, put the stock separate, and these are the ingredients that we are going to use to do this. I have grated tomatoes, which are right there, and chopped up garlic that is right next to it. Now, these are the things that I used garlic even when I had pre-boiled garlic in my gizzards, in my tripes, simply because I want my tripes to be flavorful. I don't want the constant reminder that these are intestines of the cow or innards of the cow. So you could do the same at home. If you have garlic enough, do not spare, use it. It will help you thank me later when your tripes or Ebyenda or offals, whatever it is you call it, smells nice and tastes nice. Now with this kind of preparation, you can keep your tripes, or what we call Ebyenda or offals, on the dining without them clogging. And I mean by clogging, meaning that the fats rise up on top and keep you from enjoying your meal at a good pace. These are so nutritious. They normally recommend them to breastfeeding moms. They help apparently with the lactation. I believe lactation is improved when you take your soups hot. Anything hot can help you lactate. So, but because instead of a breastfeeding mother taking water or anything that is not nutritious, if you made these when you're pregnant, or when you've just given birth to a baby, because you take them hot, definitely your lactation would be better than it would without hot things. Otherwise, it's nutritious, it's healthy, it's tasty if prepared right, like we are going to learn today. Now, the other thing that I've done is use green pepper that you see on the board. I'll also chop up some tomatoes. These will help with color. And I'm going to use some spring onions, oatmeal, and then I'll get to the spices that we are going to see right here. Now I'm done chopping up my ingredients: the carrots, green pepper, oatmeal, tomatoes, and spring onions. Now, when it comes to spices, I'm going to use paprika. I'm going to use Mchuzi mix, which is right here. I'm going to use ginger, this one. All these are teaspoonfuls. And I'm also going to use beef masala, which is right there. Rosemary. I'm going to use garlic powder, turmeric powder. I'll also use okra. Lately, I'm using a lot of okra because of its nutritive values, and it's a thickener for my sauce. So I want my offals not to be too dilute. I want them with a good consistency. So I'll use okra, I'll use some black pepper, and a tablespoon of flour. Those are the things that will help me get my sauce looking good and tasting good. I'm also going to use some salt and my stock as earlier presented, and tomatoes. These are blended plus the chopped up ones. Now time for us to start cooking tripes. Time for me to heat up my pan, put some oil, and then put the onions first. I'll put the onions and garlic. And then give those guys a good mix. As you can see, I'm able to use oil because I removed all the fats from my tripes. The reason why is when you use oil instead of the fat, your tripes will not smell so much as innards of the cow or intestines of the cow. They will smell really nice, and unless someone has been told these are tripes of Ebyenda or offals or intestines, they would not know because the aromas will be so different from what is known. Now I'm trying to mix my onions to get the aromas out, and then add my tripes. I'm putting them in right now because I want them to absorb the aromas from the onions. I will mix and then add in my carrots after. Reason why I'm adding carrots is because I want them to soften a bit. Now the other ingredient I have not shown you is soy sauce. I want my tripes to change color, so I'll put in like a teaspoon of that. I don't want them to be brown, but I want them to get that nice color from the superior dark soy sauce. The aromas from garlic and onions are going to have a chance with the tripes, or what we call Ebyenda or offals. That way, when I'm serving, already the aromas in my kitchen are not those of the tripes. Remember, I washed them 3 times, removed all the fats, that are a constant reminder and a storage for the aromas of the tripes. Then I wash them with vinegar. Now that I've done that, I'll put the carrots. So that they get a chance to soften as well. Now remember, my tripes are already ready. So they are just now absorbing the ingredients and preparing to get ready to be served. So they are now just taking in the aromas. When I was pre-boiling them, I added some salt. So guys, don't forget to add salt when you're boiling your tripes. When you add salt when you're cooking, it acts also as a catalyst to speed up the cooking system. It smells nice, it looks nice, but I've got to cover and allow the carrots to soften and the tripes to absorb the garlic and onions. Now, I covered them for about 2 minutes. Time for me to open them up and see how they are doing. They look nice, and I love the smell. The aromas are just good, and I know my tripes have been able to absorb them in. Now, I'm going to bring in my tomatoes, the chopped up ones, and the blended ones. Now, if you've noticed, I've used blended tomatoes. So I'm going to use some sugar to help break down my acids. You can go ahead and do the same, but if you find that your tomatoes are just enough, it's okay. The sugar bit is optional for those of you who have not used as much as I have. My tomatoes are raw, blended raw, and then stored. So when I use them, I need to use some sugar to break down the acids. Now I'll let this sit for about 3 minutes so that the tomatoes can be tender. As you can see, there is no water yet. And I'm going to add my spices right now, then cover. In here are all the spices we talked about: the rosemary, paprika, Mchuzi mix, beef masala, mixed spices, turmeric, black pepper, garlic powder, ginger. See how I've not spared on spices? Because once you do that, you will make these tripes and whoever is eating them won't even know what they are eating until you explain. So for those who say I don't eat them, well, they'll get to know they've just eaten them when they are done with the meal and asking for second servings. Won't that be interesting? I'm telling you guys, once you do this at home and cook it this way, you will have to write back, if you promise, on how they were received at home. Because this is how mine are looking. Now I'm going to add some stock. and then add my green pepper. See how it has thickened? Simply because I used okra powder and the spices. And I'm not yet done with adding my stock, but I'll put my green peppers. The reason I'm putting green peppers and oatmeal right now is because I want to retain the aroma of these things when I'm serving, so that it's not tribes as known. But so I'll put half of the spring onions and half of the oatmeal and retain the rest for later when it's ready, so that you can still have those different aromas in there. Now time for me to put the rest of the stock and cover. Now I covered my tripes for about 5 minutes. Time for me to open, see how they are doing. And I'm loving whatever is in this pot. Now time for me to add my other spring onions. These will help with the last minute aromas. Guaranteed tribes difference from the one they serve anywhere else. See guys how it looks. It does not only look good, it smells good and tastes good. Now time for me to plate and show you how my tribes, or what we call Ebyenda or offals, would look like at the end of the day. This kind of form that you see on top is because of my okra, because it helps with the consistency, and because I like what I see, I'm going to plate. Now guys, I'm serving this with posho, or what we call cornbread, for those of you who call it kaunga in Uganda. Yeah, but you can serve it with anything really, whether it's meat, whether it's rice or plantain, mashed potatoes, anything that really you would want to have your food with is good enough for this kind of sauce. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for subscribing and telling friends. Until next time, God bless and see you. Enjoy.